Welcome to a conversation. This conversation is for you.
This conversation is about you.
This conversation is with you.
Centrally Speaking, a program that opens up the conversation around important matters of economics and finance, matters of national importance that have an impact on your life.
Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Sheena. Welcome to another in our series.
Listeners, if you tuned in last week, you missed the debut of the governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Mr. Brian Wynter. He was here. He was telling us about the roles and the functions of the central bank. But no worry yourself, he's back. And we'll be back right after this break.
Predictable, stable and low. Targeting inflation to boost the economy. BOJ committed to Jamaica and the economy. And the best way forward is using an inflation targeted strategy. Keep the rates them low, stable and intact, so consumers can buy more goods with them cash. Committed to make the economy grow. Predictable, stable and low. Inflation targeting the way to go.
Welcome back, Governor Wynter.
Thanks for having me back.
So, after our last program, I was having a conversation with someone, and they were saying to me that BOJ is becoming independent. How would that work? Tell us a little bit about what this independent central bank would look like.
Well, first let me just dispel the idea that independence means free to do whatever we want. That's not what this is about at all. An independent central bank will be free from political involvement in the monetary policy operations of the bank. But it would be accountable to the political directorate for the delivery of the mandate. And it's the mandate is one of the things that's being considered in the legislation would be made clearer, more specific and concrete so that there is no wriggle room, I would say, for the central bank to deviate. It needs to do what it will be instructed to do under this legislation.
Okay, so the bank would have worked out how you do, where you do, because you know how to do it, right? Without the politicians being over your head. But at the same time, the government would make sure that the BOJ does what you're supposed to do, based on what them say you can do.
You put it very well.
Okay. I was wondering there.
No, perfect. I mean, and perhaps even more important is the accountability that the bank will have to the public. And that's where this idea of a modern central bank comes in. The new modernized central bank will be required to deliver a higher quality product and a higher quality service to you, the public. We will have service delivery standards. We'll have to change our approaches to meet more modern needs. One of the changes that you may already have seen is how we've been modernizing how we communicate with the public and the bank's many stakeholders.
Indeed. That sounds really good, Governor. The public needs to be kept in the loop. So, last program, we started a discussion on monetary policy, which you said was basically how you regulate the money in the system to either boost up economic activity or reduce it. What I want to know, and what our listeners are interested in knowing, is what kind of information the bank uses to set this monetary policy.
Our primary tool for monetary policy is interest rates. We use it like you would use your steering wheel in the car. We use it to get inflation to the level that we need it to be. If we look ahead and we see that inflation in the next year or so will be too low, we lower interest rates so that it's easier for people to borrow money, to invest or to consume more, and that leads to more economic activity, and that leads to higher prices. If we think inflation, when we look ahead, is going to be too high, if we're worried about it rising too much, then we go in the opposite direction.
Okay, so using the analogy of the driver, so the driver for look on him GPS for know which road for take.
But keep his eyes on the road.
Right, so the low road or the high road, no guess on spelling. So how we know if BOJ is doing a good job, Governor?
Well, I think it's fairly straightforward, and this is how it ought to be. Do you believe inflation is low, stable, and predictable? Does it feel low, stable, and predictable for you? That's really the test. Inflation targeting will give to you, the public, each of you, each person, the means to be able to make that judgment, because it will have a very clear number, a clear target. This is what we must do. We show you what we're doing, and if we're meeting the target, that's a judgment that is positive. If we're not, you're in a position to say, what's going on? Why not? And the bank will be obliged to explain and justify itself.
Governor, this has been extremely informative. Thanks for stopping by. I'm sure our listeners have a better understanding of the Bank of Jamaica's role and responsibility. And if there's anybody out there who has any questions they want answered, or you just want to keep abreast of what's happening at the Bank of Jamaica, follow us on Twitter at Central Bank JA or BOJ's Facebook page and or YouTube channel. You can also visit our website at www.boj.org.jm.
Governor, thanks for coming. I never know so nice to talk to, you know. You know, we see you on TV, you always look governorial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Governor.
Right, but you're so nice to talk to.
You're too kind.
And thank you so much for joining us on Centrally Speaking.
Listen again to Centrally Speaking at the same time right here on your station, when we will have another special guest for you. Thanks for listening.
Centrally Speaking is a production of the Bank of Jamaica.